Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
It's early for you, man.
It is 5:30. Actually, I was up 4:30. That's why today I was able to get
Uh,
on camera for you. So
cool.
the previous weeks is like I get up usually 5 o'clock, but the 5:30 meeting is early.
That is early. All right, so Rob's coming in, and it'll probably be just the four of us today, but we'll welcome Rob and do our 1 to 10 exercise. Hey,
What's up,
Rob.
Rob?
Um, Chris, we were talking a little bit before. Chris says he's like a 6'7". So what's your go-to on getting your number a little bit higher, Chris?
I think right now I I'm gonna try to get it higher. There's a lot of running around with having a high school senior
Oh
and things
man.
that are going on with that. So you know, between me and my wife, that's getting, we're kind of burning the candle at both ends, and one's going east and one's going west. But
Right.
I think just coming in and you know my getting back to a schedule. Like I said, I'm starting to get more on a schedule of sleep and waking up and that kind of thing, and that's
Right.
that's been huge. That's been moving the needle. So I feel rested, which is huge.
Yeah,
But I think,
yeah.
taking a little bit more time for myself, definitely, and with the warmer weather coming, that's easier because I'm an outside kind of guy. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
love being outside.
exactly. Cool.
So
All right, so we're doing the 1 to 10 exercise. So for people that aren't clear on what this is, you give us a number 1 to 10. One is I'm eating crap food, not sleeping, highly stressed. My life is in shambles. I'm exhausted. Those kind of things. That's like the one. The 10 is fully rested, feeling great, running on all cylinders, sleeping well, eating well, managing my stress, exercising, connecting with family and friends, stuff like that. Uh, and so Chris is like 6'7", and then he's starting to get more of a routine and get out in nature a little bit, which is awesome. Rob, you're an 8, so we bow to you, sir. Eight's pretty awesome. How do you get to be 8?
I've been home for 3 weeks.
Oh yeah,
Next week, I'll be in St. Louis for 3 days. I'm traveling every week in May, so that eight is going to do this. I've been here building for 3 weeks to get to
yeah.
an eight.
All
Last
right.
week was more like a seven. The week before, a six, as I got sick on the road. So
Mm,
you know, I'm not always at an eight. Eight is today. Next
all right.
Friday, when I come back from St. Louis,
Maybe
maybe it's an
yeah.
eight.
Maybe you don't know. So what's your go-to to get that keep that number up? What's your main things that you do?
You're gonna laugh. This is a one of those bittersweet twisting things. So I was sick and slept solo in my bed because my wife was on the couch and she didn't want to get it. Then she got
Right.
it, and so she's been on the couch for 2 weeks. So I've been solo sleeping in my own bed for 3 weeks, which sounds twisted, but like it's really a good thing. Like,
No, I got a Whoop. It's a wearable, and it one of the journal questions is, did you sleep with somebody sleeping with you in your bed? So it tracks that, and it
yep.
sees if you get better sleep when you're alone. So yeah,
I personally do. It's nothing against my wife, but she
no,
talks in her
not
sleep and she flip-flops a lot. Yeah.
all
So
right.
sleep and then a lot of breath work. I have the luxury when I'm not on the road multiple
Yeah,
times a day to just zone in and breathe.
cool. Harry, what do you got? What's your number?
I'd say I'm 7 and 8 today.
Yeah,
This week
good.
has been going up and down, definitely. But last night was a very good night, and I was up, energetic this morning. Like I said, looking forward for the day and for the next week. And yeah, it's a
All right,
lot of
cool.
work going on. So work is busy, family is busy, but
Right.
all going in the right direction. So I'm
So when
happy.
you have those dips, what's your go-to to get back on track?
I have the motto of resting, not stopping, meaning that if I get tired, I rest, I don't quit. So
Right.
definitely like taking off from whatever I'm thinking or doing and taking some time for myself. Breathing, actually meditation is a lot of like the go-to thing that I do,
Great.
especially in the mornings.
All
Yes.
right. So Gil, my applied improv friend, welcome.
Thank
And
you.
you put 6. So
I may actually,
how do you get to 7 or 8 for next week? What are you
I,
doing
and I
next week?
and I may actually lower that to a 4 or a 5. Just because, yeah, I was well, first I'm really excited. I'm as soon as I hang up with you guys, I'm hopping in the car to go study with Aretha Sills, Viola Spolin's
Oh,
daughter
cool.
in New York City. So I'm so excited. This
That's improv royalty right there. That's
long
cool.
drive, long drive ahead. I was diagnosed with ADHD in January and answered a lot of questions in my life, and so I'm kind of just navigating through and a lot of new tools and rules and things. But yeah, just really threw my self care off lately. So past few weeks, it's like bedtime at 2 and 3 a.m. and still getting up at 8 or 7:30, and so not enough sleep. And
Right.
but it's still liberating in that just a lot of answers came out of this. And I'm new to facilitation, so I've been teaching an improv class here in my small town for 3 years, and that built into a really nice community. So I feel like I can really offer a lot in terms of leadership and community building.
Cool.
So I just can't wait to get into the rooms and apply
Awesome,
in all
man.
senses of the word.
All
So,
right. Great.
yeah.
Thanks. All right, Therese, welcome. So you're 6. And remind us what your go-to recovery thing is.
My go-to recovery thing.
Yeah,
Man.
for when you get like for next week when we check in, you'll be an 8. What would allow you to do that?
I became independently wealthy.
Mm.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think to say that though, I think sometimes some of those things can give you some security and freedom, and which you don't have as many worries. But mine is definitely, again, trying to keep up with my routine and with my sleep habits. So
Yeah.
that has definitely helped me get a little bit better.
All right.
And get me from, the 4 and 5 back to a 6, and just making
Right.
sure that, I'm not doing screens, as well as getting up in the morning around the same time. To me, sometimes some of this stuff sounds silly, but it really does make a difference.
Yeah. Good. I'm probably a 6. I've dipped a little bit in the last week. It's been a heavy week and a half or so. I've got a family member who's struggling with substance use disorder, specifically opioid use disorder, and trying to get him back on track, and lots of phone calls and lots of support from some great people too, including Chris, Cal Byer. You guys may know him. It's just an amazing support network in this industry that you can reach out to, and boy, they are there. Chris was like, "What do you need, man?" Same thing with Cal. What do you need? And there was never any question, never any, oh man, I'm really busy this week. It's like drop everything and come to the rescue. And it's been so helpful, but also at the same time, sort of emotionally draining. I told my wife, I don't feel like I'm burning out. I just feel exhausted. It's an emotional drain, not on top of just work and everything else that you have to do. So 6, and sleep is always my go-to. I got a great night's sleep last night. My Whoop shows me in the green today, which means I'm recovering well. So that's my deal. So thank you all. I am so excited to cover this today. I'm going to I've got in the chat, if you'll open up the chat and download that document, it's called Outcome Coaching. It's something we developed over probably past 25 years. I probably developed it fully about maybe 10 years ago. So the first 15 years, this outcome coaching. And I will make sure if any of you like are on phone, like Chris, I'll make sure you get this, Chris. I'll just email it to you.
Awesome.
And Rob, can you check your email and just, or if you're on your phone, I can just email it to you guys. But I'm going to share screen and open this up because This is by far the easiest, most effective thing I've ever created especially for people that aren't used to coaching. And that's one of the things that I always, I'm talking to like construction guys and field guys, and they've never been trained. They're not trained coaches. They're not certified coaches. I'm going to bring that one up. So I tell them, you don't have to know anything about coaching. All you have to do is pull out this piece of paper, ask the person across from you, or if it's something internal to you, you could just do this on your own, or have somebody ask you the question so that you have a little bit of, where you're thinking and not having to write so much. But all you have to do is ask these questions, and it's amazing. It gives you clarity. It gives you a way forward. It provides so many cool things, right? So I'll just go through it real quick because this is a sample one. This is a real one that this guy I coached for a while, and he was having a really hard problem with his healthcare team. They were fighting each other. They weren't gelling as a team. He was trying to step in and do all this work with them. And here's the other thing I always tell people: if you're doing this and you're asking the questions, always just say things like, "Tell me more about that. Let's explore that a little more. Have a little more detail there." So the first we check in with a current reality, and then we say, okay, what do you want this outcome to be? And then how do you get there? So that's why it's called outcome coaching. So I asked him, what's the issue? And he goes, well, we suck. Like we're fighting each other. There's lots of conflict. This healthcare team is just the team dynamic is terrible. And then, okay, what have you done to date? Right. Well, we met and discussed it with my direct reports and everybody on the team. And then the ones in highlight are if it's a conflict with another person or persons, if there's other people involved. So was there a response when you guys talked about this? Yeah, they're willing to allow the staff to share in the growth. So in other words, they wanted to have more connection and coaching and mentoring and allowing people to sort of have input into that process, right? So then this is a great question to ask. What do you want? Like I always tell people, that you got to know what you want. If you're gonna be working toward getting to what you want, you got to know what that is, right? So he said, I want to have more harmony and synergy, an effective, efficient, profitable team. That's what I want. And what do they want? Well, they want more autonomy because he had a tendency to be a bit of a micromanager and come in and try to resolve everything. And that met with more conflict and more resistance. So then question 5, what are the stumbling blocks for this effective, efficient, profitable team? Well, we got a lot of work to do. Like we're trying to establish this market presence, right? And then for you, it's my lack of experience. I don't know how to delegate. I'm not a great leader. This is new to me, right? And for them, they want more training. They don't have the knowledge to be able to step into those leadership roles that if he's going to delegate, they have to be willing to do the work, right? So then we get into the future vision part. And this is a great question I ask a lot for a coaching question. What's the perfect desired outcome? All right, there's no budget issues. There's no dynamic issues. Just tell me what the outcome, what's that perfect outcome? That these people that are reporting to him are become more leaders, and then they achieve this diversity of where everybody's contributing and they feel like they're bringing their best selves every day. That's the perfect desired outcome. All right, so then ask yourself, put yourself in the other person's shoes. How do they see it? What do they want? Well, they want to be leaders. They want to step up, right? They want autonomy. They want recognition. Then this is also a great question I ask a lot. What's the helicopter view? Fly above as an observer. You're not in the middle of it. Does this perspective change your point? And see, yes, I see the need to more deeply mentor, not to step in and solve, not to micromanage, but to just mentor them, let them do the work, right? And then this is I struggle with this one as a coach, but sometimes sometimes the guys even tell me, can't you just tell me what to do? Just tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. And I like to have them discover it for themselves. But every once in a while, there is some like giving advice part of this. And I'd say, okay, if I have something to offer, it's just my opinion, but can I give you some advice? Just straight up, here's what I think. And then if they say yes, I'm saying delegate and empower others to allow you to be a leader. That was my advice I gave this guy. Then we're getting into this implementation. Are any of these ideas sounding good? Yes. Enough to take action on? Yeah, that's my goal. I'm gonna mentor more, right? And then how do we start? So step by step, what would be the first step? And this was a great answer. Create clear expectations. Then what about after that and after that? Okay, we're going to recruit some, we're going to mentor people, we're going to train, we're going to market ourselves this whole team will be working toward establishing that presence in this new market. And then what are the obstacles? Personalities, conflicts, profit and workflow. We still have to get the work done, right? And for them, just staff, understanding their capabilities and what they're doing. And that may involve some training. So number 4, how can you overcome those obstacles? I need to lead more effectively. And how do you think they can overcome? Believe and trust in staff and the people that are reporting to them and continue to hire and build this team, right? So then the follow-up and changing future behaviors, how will you know when this issue is resolved? I love this response. No more separatist drama, right? And then what did you learn from this process? To very directly confront the issues calmly as a partner and not as just the boss. And then what will you do differently going forward and next time? Trust but verify. So he went from this horrible team dynamic and an awful place to be and chaos and conflict to a really clear way of going forward. And that's the reason, that's what I tell people. What's an issue that you're having that you just can't get your arms around, that you just can't seem to diagnose, resolve, know what the steps are going forward? This thing is gold. This thing is really narrows down. It allows you to see the picture, see what that future vision needs to be, and then what's the step-by-step process to get there. At least not to totally resolve it, but at least to start a resolution of this. So, any comments about this? Anybody? What do you think?
I would just love to say it's very spiritual too, my friend. I love this. I appreciate this so much because it just getting inside of yourself as deep as you can is so valuable. But just the extra depth in this is really nice to see. I can't wait to actually go through it as an exercise. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Anybody else?
I had a comment because I keep hearing coaching, mentoring, consulting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Advising. And to me, there's a difference between all these different levels, especially when it comes to emotional intelligence, because when you become a consultant, it's not expected that you are a mentor, for example. When you're a mentor, you're expected to have better emotional intelligence in knowing how to treat, because these questions are very, very intimate and very emotionally tied to your behavior or your kind of responses and stuff. And if you don't know how to respond to it as a consultant, for example, or as a coach, and you kind of create this bond with your mentee or whoever the person that is receiving this other end, if you're not doing it the right way, you might even damage the person. That's my concern. Is like, how would you help your people, whether they want to become a coach or mentor in organization? What is this tool, and how is going to be used in the organization?
Right.
That's my question.
I think it's a great question. And for instance, so if I were to sit down with somebody that maybe I didn't know as well, maybe it's the beginning of a coaching process, and I say, what's the issue? And he says, I'm beating my wife, and I'm a raging alcoholic, and I'm struggling with alcohol addiction. I probably would stop at that point because this isn't going to help that person. I would say, let me refer you to somebody who has that expertise. So I think you have to know your limitations as a mentor and a coach. But what I've used this for is mostly things like this, that where there's some conflict involved, right? This is great for just a conflict because it gives you perspective and it gives you a way forward. And usually those conflicts, they're not as deep as those kinds of things that you're talking about or something that I just described. It's usually just, hey, we're not communicating well. All right, well, let's look at what those get to those root causes of why that's happening and give you a way forward. So I guess I should do a caveat that you have to know your limitations as a person that's either a mentor or a coach to this other person. But I've even used it for stuff that's a conflict within me or a conflict I'm having with another person. And it gives me that extra little viewpoint and dynamic of, and mostly it's what are they experiencing, right? So it's almost like an easy to do empathy exercise. Not easy, but simple. A simple empathy exercise where you're putting yourself in the other person's shoes and getting a viewpoint that you may not have had before. And that's where I think this excels. I think for really complex issues, personal issues, spiritual issues, those kind of things, that's not what this is for. Did I answer your question? Okay, cool. And mostly, and it's not because people don't understand how to get out of this. I think they're just so much in the middle of it. This allows them to take a step back and fully understand what's really going on and give them some different perspectives and give them some ideas on how to move forward. That's what this is for. So, but Harry, thanks for pointing that out. All right. Any other comments or questions on this? All right. If you didn't download this from the notes, like if you're on your phone or something, I'm going to stop sharing now. I will email it to you. I'll definitely email Rob and Chris, Gil, Teresa, and Harry. Did you download this or do you have it?
Believe it or not, I was able to on my phone for the first time. I think it's a new Google.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. Or a new Zoom thing. It's wonderful.
All right. Teresa, you got it?
Yes, I have it. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right, guys, we're reaching the end of our time. Here's the thing. I'm going to do this every week, mostly because it helps me to check in. But I think I want to build a little bit more of a community, but also it's going to be a check-in that I use for people that are taking the online courses that I put on my website. So if any of you want to check those out, I think all of you, except with the exception of maybe Gil, I've given the access to the online courses. But if I didn't and you want them, if you'll email me, I'll send you a coupon, and you can be able to access those courses and hopefully give me some feedback and all that. I'll just put my email in the chat as well. Email me, request a coupon code that'll give you the access. I think most of you have it already, but if you don't, email me and I'll send it to you and you can access some of these courses. And this outcome coaching is part of our Killer Communication Skills course. There's a whole section on coaching and feedback and how to give that feedback. I think we're horrible at this as an industry. We give the yearly annual review, and that's it. And it's a check the box kind of a thing. We really need to get better at giving people feedback because that's part of our workforce development issue, I think, is people don't know what's going on. They don't know how they're doing. They don't know how to be better. They don't know. Nobody ever tells them. Here's what you're doing well. Here's what you can do better. Nobody ever has those discussions. So there's some really good ways to do that in that course, Killer Communication Skills. So again, yeah, Chris, what you got?
I agree 100% with what you just said. something to add to that, and maybe it's something you could think about, is this being a rough industry as it is. I don't think a lot of people know how to present to people in a way where it's not a standoffish kind of way.
Right.
I think, in our industry of construction, everything seems to be very standoffish.
Yeah.
And maybe it wouldn't be that way if the conversation was started differently.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's all in the way you present something. So, maybe being a little bit more mindful of that, of how you come at something. I mean, we all get heated in the moment and all the other things, and it's easy to get pissed off, right?
Yeah.
But just that, take a minute, take a breath, present it in a different way. But I got to agree with what you just said, a million percent. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, it
just
can
don't
get
know.
dicey. Yeah, it can get dicey. But I think it's about this. If you're sincere about it, and the energy around that is not you're there to be punitive or punish them or to find out what they're doing wrong. That we've developed this 3-step feedback model. And the first question you ask them is, "What have you done well this week?" Let them tell you, and then say, "Here's what I think you've done well this week." And then, "Hey, what can you do better for next week?" And then, "Here's what I think you can do better for next week." And then the last part of that feedback process is, "Tell me what I'm doing well and tell me how I can be better." Right. So it becomes a discussion and less of a feedback where they have input into what that outcome is. And anytime you give people that autonomy to offer what they think's going on, I think it gives them, it puts them at ease because they know you're not just there to come down on them, you're there to help them. And that's, I think, again, we're in this tough guy industry, and sometimes it comes across as just punitive. And man, when you get into that punitive thing, people just shut down or they get pissed and they fight back. So you got to think about your approach. Chris was spot on. But I think we need to get more comfortable doing this instead of saying, "Well, I'm not comfortable doing it, so I'm not going to do it." I'd rather get us comfortable doing it and make some mistakes. And maybe people will get pissed, but then say, "Man, I took the wrong approach. How can I do it better next time?" We put feedback in the feedback, right? All right. Guys, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you guys showing up. I'm here to help. Let me know how I can help. As always, I've got tons of stuff to offer, and I'm here to help. And I hope to see you next Friday. And I haven't decided. I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to start talking about workforce development and how we keep our people, because this is the most pressing thing in our industry. I think we, not to get too dramatic, but I think our industry may be in trouble, like the whole industry, if we don't solve this issue. And maybe it'll just be cut way back, but I think the industry's in trouble, and the people that figure this out are going to rule this industry because everybody's going to work for those companies that have figured out how to keep their people happy, motivated, healthy, stable. Those are the companies that are going to thrive. And I think we're just not doing enough of that as an industry. Yeah, Gil.
May I ask you, pardon my ignorance? It sounds like, what industry are we talking? Because
see, Gil's new to this. He's my applied improv buddy. We do improv together. This is the construction industry. All of these folks are in construction, and that's where my focus is. So,
okay.
So
I'm
we
so sorry.
appreciate you.
I didn't know that.
No, that's a great question. I didn't even think about it. So,
well, we're the same. We improv building things,
That's right. It's a total improv. It's true. It's true. Therese, what do you got?
I was just going to say it's incredible working in this industry where you do meet and you work around with all of these people who consider themselves so tough. but they are so scared when it comes to sitting down and actually speaking to somebody else.
Isn't that amazing? I found it to be true as well. They're terrified of that in some ways. But once they feel safe and once that process starts, it's like a flower opening. They're so starved for these discussions that once they're comfortable doing it, you can't shut them up, and they really want to do it all the time, right? Cool. All right, guys. Thanks again. Hope to see you next week. Have a great weekend, and again, let me know what I can do to help. We'll see you.
So
valuable.
valuable.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.